Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up podcast. It is draft week. Today, we're giving you our 2-round mock draft. So every team getting a pick here. So congratulations, Falcons, Colts, Jags, Broncos, Bengals, and the Raiders. You get a pick that's not Fernando Mendoza. That's Nick. I'm Theo. This is the Drafted Up podcast. If you haven't already, like, rate, subscribe, review to the channel, the videos, all that good stuff. We appreciate your support as we grow the Drafted Up community. Nick, I'm not going to ask how you're doing. I just want to jump right into the news. The Bengals traded the 10th overall pick to your New York Football Giants. So you guys have pick 5 and pick 10. The Giants traded them Sexy Dexy, Dexter Lawrence. How are you holding up? You haven't answered any of our texts.
I've been on a hiatus.
That. Yeah, so I'm getting some breaking news on how you're doing here.
They're trying to reel me back in with the Odell Beckham's in town for workouts for yesterday and today, and they're seeing how his body recovers. If anything happens with the Odell stuff, they said it's already going to be after the draft, so nothing's going to come of it this week. I'm very indifferent, and that's why I haven't got back to anyone, because I care a lot about it, and we were at a point where the Giants were at a standstill. Dexter Lawrence never came out and said it publicly, but he pretty much said that he will never play for the Giants again. So for us to get the 10th pick in the draft for a guy that is never going to play for us again, it's a win. It is. It's definitely a win. But at the end of the day, and I get we're going to get an elite talent level prospect, what's the chances that they're better than Dexter Lawrence? Straight up, it's very slim. But you have to look at it from, we also gained a bunch of cap space. The Bengals are now stuck paying Dexter Lawrence for a team that does not pay their players besides Joe Burrow, Shamar Chase, and T. Higgins. So I don't know. It's a weird situation to be in. Obviously, I'm cool with getting the 10th pick of the draft. Do I want Dexter Lawrence on my team because I know we're a better team with Dexter Lawrence? Of course. So it's a win. I think it's a win-win for both teams. The Bengals got what they really needed because they're horrendous at drafting. So they were smart to trade the 10th pick because it was going to be a bust whoever they picked because it's the Bengals. They can't draft.
Well, they can draft offense.
Yeah, that's true. But they weren't going to draft offense with that pick. They were going to try to. All the reports are saying they're taking Peter Woods at 10, and that guy's
wild. Love Peter Woods.
Would have been insane.
Yeah. The Bengals, they were stuck in summer scouting still because we joke all the time that they have no scouting department. So they're just like, oh, Peter Woods, he's good.
He's good.
We just haven't got anybody else yet.
2024, Peter Woods. Ooh,
yeah.
Top 10 pick.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's a win-win for both teams. It seems to be a lot of, they fleece them, you fleece the Bengals, stuff like that. But I think if you would ask any franchise, any team, like a fan base, 32 of them would say, hey, if I guaranteed you an all-pro at the 10th pick of the draft, would you trade it for that guy? And they would absolutely do it. And that is what the Bengals got in Dexter Lawrence. He is an all-pro. He's still 28. He's still good. Like, I know he had a down year this past year, but the Giants sucked. And I think that was part of it because, sometimes that happens with players. Like, they get stuck into a shitty situation and it affects their level of play. So, and then for you guys, I don't think anybody thought you guys were going to get a top 10 pick for Dexter Lawrence. Everybody seemed to be, it would be a late first, something like Chicago, LA being the Chargers in that range, that 22 to 30 range was where everybody was kind of like, if they trade Dexter Lawrence, that's what they're going to get. So you're getting a top 10 pick, and especially in a class that's a little bit weaker up top, I think this is a great move for both teams. So,
It works out for the Giants, too, because we only had 2 picks in the top 100. So now we have 2 top 10 picks, and we still have our second. So it balances out the top 100 a little bit more for the Giants. It's just, I don't know. I'm obviously heartbroken seeing Dexter Lawrence go play for another team because he was the heart and soul of the Giants for the last 5 years, and he's been the most consistent guy on the team. So I hope he produces well. The Bengals got themselves, in my eyes, the best defensive tackle in football, and I don't think it's close. Yeah. So, it's just rough, but I do like being in the spot of having 5 and 10. It opens up the Giants board very nicely. I've been running a bunch of mocks trying to see which best scenario I like. And honestly, the ones I found out that I like personally is trading one of those picks and moving back. I like moving either 5 or 10 back, hoping Downs or Sonny Styles falls to 10, or just snag one of them at 5 and call it a day. But really moving one of those picks back like 5 to 8 spots, not like really far back, but
Mm-hmm.
moving back into the middle of the first and then gaining like a late second, early third just to get another top 100 pick. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the predicaments I find best for the Giants. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we end up sitting at 5 and 10 and making 2 picks. But with us getting the 10th pick of the draft, we now have the most top 10 draft picks in the last decade. So
Yeah.
we're the worst team in football if you go off of that. So
this is the second time Joe Sheen is having two top 10 picks. The first time he took Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau. So hopefully he does a little bit better.
Hey man,
this
both
go
those
around.
guys are still on the team.
Yeah, but
they're still on the team.
Let's be real. Joe Shane not making these picks. These are John Harbaugh's picks.
These are Harbaugh's picks.
Joe Shane is there in name only. So it's draft week. It's Tuesday. All the rumors and innuendos start swirling around this time. There was a lot of buzz that David Bailey was going to be picked second, and then the Jets canceled his 30 visits. So now is it going to be Arvell Reese? There's some buzz.
See, I think that's almost locks in David Bailey at second. I think they canceled it because they know they're picking. I think they know they're picking him. That's how I look at it.
I think you bring him in if you're doing the 30 visit and start installs and start building a playbook with him.
You could do that, but there's no point to make him travel. I think that's what it is. Like, hey, we're just going to give you this time. You're a New York Jet. You don't need to come out here.
The betting odds did swing now that Arvell Reese is now the favorite to be picked 2 again. And it seems to be all the insiders are kind of shifting back that way. And then there's the buzz about Jeremiah Love is going to be in play and is a real heavy favorite to be picked at Arizona's spot. I personally don't buy that. I think that is
I don't believe that either.
A buzz to get people to trade up to 3 because we know Arizona does not want to be there. But that's the fun part of the draft.
Know that they know Tennessee wants Love as well. Like Tennessee is pretty open and obvious about they want Love. The Giants want Love. So you're jumping 2 teams that want Love for 3, and Arizona's a team that wants to move back. So Arizona's in a really good predicament to move if someone wants to jump Tennessee and the Giants for Love. But if not, I don't know. I think they end up moving back, so I think someone does jump up. But if they don't, I still think they sit at 3 and take who they have as the best offensive lineman in the draft. That's going to be different for fucking 6 out of 10 people, to be honest.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. But that's the fun part about this time. It's kind of siphoning through what's smoke, what's fire. So all right, you ready to jump in 2 rounds? Let's stop the chit chat. Let's get to it. Let's pull up a mock draft simulator here. Let's share the screen and let's get this ball rolling here. Using a different one. We're using Stick to the Model today. I've used it on a few of my solo runs, but a good follow on Twitter is the guy who runs the simulator, and he's done a hell of a job. It is a beauty. It's easy on the eyes, and you'll see there like you got like the community percentage picks of where they go there, and also like an AI prediction, team needs. The depth charts are there, which is always super useful for me because I'm always trying to pull up other tabs to see who they got, but that's all right here. So super convenient. You want odds or do you want evens here?
Well, either way, so the Giants pick at 5 and 10, and the Vikings pick at 18 and 49. So they each have an even and odds pick. So either way, we're splitting the Giants and Vikings. So I'm cool with it. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, we're not even going to talk about the first pick. We're just going to lock it in before we even go in. That's Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders. I'll take the evens. I'll go evens here.
Works.
Give you the difficult decision of whether we want to trade Arizona or if we want to stick and pick. As I preluded, Jets. It's pretty much David Bailey or Arvell Reese, and I lean that it is Arvell Reese. I really do think that's where the Jets go. I think he fits Aaron Glenn's scheme a little bit better, and honestly, I think he's the safer football player. And I think at worst, you're getting a really good off-ball linebacker if he doesn't develop into an edge. And in David Bailey's case, like you're concerned more than I am per se about like the run stopping ability. I think he's a fine run stopper, but you think that is a serious weakness in his game. And Arvell Reese has no problem stopping the run. So if he can develop as a pass rusher, cool. But at worst, you're getting like a Devin Lloyd level. Like I think that's his ceiling as just a linebacker. So I think he's the safer pick. I think that's the route you go. So I'm going to go Arvell Reese to the Jets at 2.
No, and
But
I get that. I have Reese rated higher than David Bailey. So I the safer floor thing is hard to talk about because they're
Mhm.
almost like way different. David Bailey is a true pin his ears back pass rusher guy, where
Yeah,
Arvell Reese is he could be a linebacker, he could be an edge rusher. He needs to develop both of those, but I do think Reese has a way higher ceiling than David Bailey does at the NFL.
absolutely. Yeah. All right. 3 for Arizona.
All right,
What do you
so
think it here?
here's my thing with Arizona. The team being linked to trading up with them right now is Kansas City. Kansas City's not jumping up to get Love. This is not going to happen. They went out and signed Ken Walker in free agents. So I don't know if they're trying to jump up in hopes of Arvell Reese falling, because I don't think they're going to jump up for David Bailey, because they might be able to get Ruben Bain at 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm gonna probably stick Arizona, keep him here, because I don't know personally who's gonna move up to 3. If it's not Kansas City,
Okay.
Kansas City moves up to 3, they're not gonna draft Love. So I'm not gonna try to put myself in a predicament to be like, well, what's Kansas City even gonna do at 3? So I'm just gonna kind of stick here at 3, and I'm gonna draft my offensive lineman 1, and that's Malinois, Miami, Francis Malinois, tackle, guard. He can kick inside if you need him to. So
I think he's
can.
I think he's an elite right tackle prospect.
I agree. I think he is a elite tackle prospect as well, but I think his first year is probably going to come at guard, depending on where he gets drafted. Like if he comes to the Giants, most likely he is playing guard his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
But Arizona, he'll probably play tackle, and I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a really good tackle at the next level, dude. He's one of the guys that I have. I think top 5 in the draft class. I think I have him as my 5th ranked prospect.
I have him at 6, so we're pretty similar in terms of where we have him ended up.
I just think he's the safest offensive lineman prospect, especially when I think he's an elite tackle. So going 3, it's not really a bad of the eye. So
yeah, and Arizona needs a right tackle. They have Paris Johnson solidified on the left side, so Moe Noah makes a ton of sense there for them. It puts me up for Tennessee. This is going to come down to 2 situations. You got Brian Dable, who's the offensive coordinator. You know he's going to be pounding the table for Jeremiah Love and trying to get this offense a weapon to take some pressure off Cam Ward and continue to build this offense. And Robert Saleh, the head coach, you know he's going to be pounding the table for David Bailey in this situation. We know Robert Saleh's defense thrives off edge rushers. So it is really those 2 players in line here, and I really think that if Bailey or Reese makes it to 4, the Titans are gonna go defense. This roster isn't built to go rookie running back, and I know Jeremiah Love's an incredible prospect. I think he's better than Genty as a prospect. I'm really high on him. But the Raiders took Genty last year, and look how that worked out. And I think the Raiders
struggled.
I think the Raiders were in a better situation from an offensive line standpoint and an offensive standpoint to take Genty than Tennessee is. So I really do believe the Titans are going to go David Bailey or Arvell Reese if one of them makes it here. And Bailey is here in this case, and I think that's where the Titans go. I think they build the defense, and they'll try to get an offensive weapon in the second round, whether it be a receiver or trading up to get one of the receivers if one falls back into the first, or getting a running back in the third. But I think from a running back room standpoint, Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears are enough to get you by at least this year, that you could build the receiving room and find a weapon that way for Cam Ward. But I think you go defense, and I think they do go David Bailey.
You don't think Sonny Styles would be in the running there to be the Fred Warner for Robert Saleh?
I do, but I think they would value the edge rusher a little bit more, especially just the linebacker class also really deep. Whereas edge does kind of tail off after like the first 9 guys, and then it kind of is like, Derek Moore, he's fine. Dennis Sutton's okay. But I think you just get the guy to pin his ears back and rush the passer, and David Bailey.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. So Giants are up at 5, and my personal 2 top guys for 5, Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs, are both here. So you put me in a spot because I really thought you were going to go Sonny Styles, Tennessee, making it really easy for me for the Giants.
Jeremiah Love not in play?
He is. He is for
Okay.
sure, but I think I would personally think the Giants are going to go defense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think we brought in Tremont Edwards, linebacker from I think he played Chicago last year, Buffalo. I think he was in Chicago last year.
Chicago. Mm-hmm.
Um, which makes me think we're gonna go Caleb Downs over Sonny Styles. I personally have Sonny Styles as the top prospect in the draft. He's my number one prospect. I think I have Caleb Downs at 3 or 4. I think we're gonna go Caleb Downs. I'm gonna lock in Caleb Downs here at 5, and we're gonna see how the board falls for the Giants to 10. But I
All
think
right.
safety is a little bit more of a need for the Giants, and they're getting Caleb Downs, who was coming into this draft class. He didn't skyrocket at all. He's just been consistently one of the top 5 prospects in this draft class. It wasn't a combine blow up. It wasn't anything from last year. It's just been consistently, hey, this Caleb Downs guy, he's coming out of college and he's really good. And he didn't test phenomenally. I get it, like throughout the process, but he's still going to be a top 10 pick in my eyes. So I think the Giants lock him in here at 5 and get a guy that can lock down the whole secondary. We went out, we got a couple corners. We need a lot of safety help. And I think Caleb Downs can step on the field and be a real leader to any defense day one.
All right. That puts me up 6 with Cleveland. If I stick around here, Carnell Tate in play, Spencer Fano in play, but I think this is where we see our first trade because at 7, Washington, like Sonny Styles still there. I think that's who they want to take. And I think division rival of Washington, the Dallas Cowboys, will jump up here and try to get Sonny Styles to keep him away from the Washington Commanders. So we're going to finagle a trade here with the Cowboys. Let's see. Dallas.
I do really like the Sonny Styles fit to Washington, but I think if Love falls to Washington at 7, I think he's almost a lock in at 7 to really help Jaden Daniels and just eat so much of that pressure because they need to start producing offensively. They got their quarterback. They got Terry McLaurin. They got a decent offensive line. Go out there and get you an all-pro caliber running back, and I think Love to Washington coming up at 7 because you just said Dallas is trading up for Sonny Styles. So I already got picks set in here for Washington. I think that would be a phenomenal fit for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I agree. I just think Washington ends up going defense if they do. If Styles or Downs is available in this case, neither of them is not. Just trying to work out.
It's been a very defensive heavy top 6 picks so far, with Mendoza and Malinoa being the only offensive guys off the board, and Arvell Reese going 2, David Bailey going 4, Caleb Downs going 5, Sonny Styles is about to go 6 to the Browns. So it's a very defensive heavy top 6 picks.
So easiest way to make this trade happen is Dallas trades pick 12 and pick 20, which would both be mine, to Cleveland for 6, and then the second round pick 39. So Dallas moves down 19 spots. Cleveland only moves down 6 spots from 6 to 12. So I think that's a pretty balanced offer. It's also just the easiest to finagle in terms of trade chart value, stuff like that. So yeah, Dallas moves up to 6 here. They take Sonny Styles, get the leader of that defense. Their new defensive coordinator, Christian Jones, has been really into like getting smart football players to run this defense, and you're not going to find many players smarter than Sonny Styles. Like I fully believe that Dallas is leaving Thursday with Styles or Downs on their roster.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Getting any team that's going to get Sonny Styles is, like I said, they're getting my top prospect in the draft. So Dallas moving up to get a guy to run that defense just makes so much sense in my eyes, because I do think Dallas is in a pretty good spot. Like, a lot of people don't really talk about Dallas, but on paper, dude, they have a good team. They have a really good offense. They just really need to get that defense solidified, and I think Sonny Styles is a step in the right direction.
Yeah. And you went Jeremiah Love, as said, to the Washington Commanders at 7. I think that's a really good pick with all the big defensive guys off the board. We love Ruben Bain here, but I think they get to get the opportunity to take some pressure off Jaden Daniels. It wouldn't surprise me if they even go Cardinal Tate there if Love isn't gone. So I think both those offensive guys are in play there. So that puts me up at 8 with New Orleans, and the top 3 guys on the board are the 3 guys I'm looking at, and that's being Ruben Bain, defensive lineman, edge rusher, Mansour Delane, the corner, and Carnell Tate, the wide receiver from Ohio State. I do really want to get a receiver on this Saints roster. They absolutely need one.
For sure.
Next to Chris Olave. After him, it's Devon Vele, Jalen Polk's there. Like, Juwan Johnson is the second in terms of targets at the tight end position. So not exactly the best room to help Tyler Shuck develop. But this is a really deep receiving class, and I do think one's available in the second round for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to lean Ruben Bain. The Saints have just lived off these just kind of heavier style edge rushers like Cameron Jordan. I think Ruben Bain fits that mold. So let's get some juice on this defense. Let's get him a leader. Let's get him Ruben Bain here at 8, putting you up at 9 with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Put me in a rough spot for the Chiefs. I really wanted Ruben Bain there. I think him in a Spags defense would be absolutely phenomenal fit for both guys. I think Spags would really know how to use Bain to his fullest, and obviously he does have a little bit of a downside with his size and his arms, but I think Spags could easily work around that. There's been a lot of Jordan Tyson talk to Kansas City, and to be honest, if Kansas City doesn't take Jordan Tyson with the way the board fell, I think the Giants would take him. So I think Jordan Tyson is in line for the next 2 picks to be one of them. Joe Shane went out and had a personal dinner with Jordan Tyson, Giants GM.
After the Dexter Lawrence trade, his odds to go top 10 skyrocket.
Yeah, well, we were doing the Tate deep dive before we even had 10. So Tate was on the board for us at 5. Or not Tate. Tyson. Jordan Tyson, wide receiver. Arizona State. I think it's just all medical, dude. Okay, would you lean receiver or Mansour Delane here for 10 or for Kansas City? Because Kansas City needs defensive backs.
They do need corners, but the Chiefs have just kind of lived this life where they think they can just get corners.
They can find them, and they live that life because they do. They've consistently done it for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I would have even said Spencer Fana was in play here.
Yeah. Oh, man, Chiefs are a rough spot if they don't move up or draft one of the edge rushers. It sucks after off the board. I'm gonna pull the trigger on Jordan Tyson. I know a lot of mock guys. I think Kuiper has him going to Kansas City. One of the other guys has Tyson going to Kansas City.
Schrager did.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go wide receiver Jordan Tyson. I think he's gonna be the first wide receiver off the board.
Yeah, it's kind of swung back to that. For a while,
he's clearing a lot of medical tests, and that's what it comes down to. If he and we've talked about it, if he gets to green check mark on medicals, he should be the first receiver taken in the class. That's his
tape, far and away the best. In my eyes. And Dane Brugler came out and tweeted, and he said he's just like, it's a better chance now Tyson's the first receiver taken than it is the third, which is how it was kind of swinging for a little bit, was that Jordan Tyson would be the third wideout off the board. So yeah, I think it's locked in place that the first 2 are Tate and Tyson. I don't think Lemon is now in contention to go 2. I have Tate and Tyson back to back in my rankings. I think I have him 7 and 8, if I'm not mistaken. I have Tate 1 spot higher, just based off of medicals. That's the only thing it comes down to. Yeah, I have Tyson 5 on my big board. I have Tate 12 or 13, 1 spot behind Mekhi Lemon. But if you want to see our full big boards, they're over on our Substack. Just search Drafted Up Podcast. They'll be there. You can look at our top 100s. They're posted over there on the Substack. We're skipping going through just reading off our big boards this year. It's not a user-friendly episode for you guys, listener-friendly. So I'm at 10 with the Giants. Did not think Carnell Tate was going to be here. So that is where I'm going to go. I don't know if that's how you would lean in this situation. Would be Carnell Tate at 10, and you're leaving here with Carnell Tate and Caleb Downs, just 2 Ohio State. You guys just scouted one team, locked and loaded there.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. If if I had only 4 guys to put in contention for the Giants to pick,
Mm-hmm.
3 of the 4 would be Ohio State kids. It would be Sonny Styles, it would be Caleb Downs, Carnell Tate, and then the outlier would be Jordan Tyson. Those are the 4 guys that I really want to walk out of Thursday with. 1 or 2 of those 4 guys, and I will be happy. I don't care what order we pick them in. I don't care how it happens. But those would be the 4 guys.
Vega Ione is also in contention here for me.
I would agree. I don't. I think it's a little too early.
Yeah, but with Tate there, I can't turn that down. I'm a little lower on Carnell Tate than the NFL, but I just don't see a way this guy isn't a top 10 pick. So that's where we're going. Carnell Tate 10 to the Giants. Get Jackson Dart some weapons. Tate and Malik Neighbors, that's a nice 1-2 punch. And then Isaiah Likely also there. And then figure out the offensive line. Second round, you get a guard. So that puts you up at 11 with the Miami Dolphins.
Both receivers off the board. Because, well, with Lemon there, I guess, but
the Dolphins have needs everywhere.
Exactly. I'm looking at Mansour Delane here, and I think he's going to go pretty early in the NFL draft. I'm not sure he's even going to be here at 11. A lot of teams like him, especially with
had
McCoy.
he not been here, I would have tried to push you to Kenyon Sadiq because I think the Dolphins can fool around and take a player like that with this pick, considering they have so many picks in the top 100.
That is true, for sure.
But Delane being there, it's tough to turn that one down.
It is. It's hard. The Dolphins desperately need cornerback help, and Delane has skyrocketed up the boards.
You don't like Storm Duck? That's their number one corner, Storm Duck.
This is my thing with Delane. Is he's probably the only corner that's going to be going, maybe in the first round.
Yeah. There's we didn't touch on the Jermon McCoy stuff at the beginning. There's a lot of buzz that he could take that Will Johnson fall, and Will Johnson fell in the second round. So
yeah.
I still think McCoy goes just because of the draft class, but
I have McCoy as my corner 1. I still have McCoy as my corner 1. If he goes in the first, it's going to be late. It's going to be like one of the last 5 picks in the first. I don't think he's going to go much earlier than that, if it's even a possibility at this point.
Philly will take him at 23.
So this is why I think Delane goes super early in the draft, because there's not many corners that are going to go in the first round, and he's honestly, I don't think he's the best corner in the draft, but he's the healthiest corner in the draft. So by default, he's the best corner in the draft. It's a good fit too. The Dolphins desperately need anyone that can lock down a wide receiver, and Delane can lock down. He can play man to man. He can play a little bit of zone. It's an overall decent fit for Miami here at 11, and it hits a desperate need. So,
I like that. Delane to the Dolphins at 11, and the board fell nicely for Cleveland. I was hoping Spencer Fanu would make it back to the Browns at 12, and he did, and that's an easy run it to the table pick, and that is Spencer Fanu to Cleveland at 12. They need offensive line help across the board, whether it's left tackle, right tackle, guard. They've done a ton of shifting around. Left tackle is their biggest need, but Fanu gives you the opportunity to potentially fill a need at any one of those spots. Like, I think he could play center. I think he could play guard. I think he could play tackle. And I think Cleveland's in the situation you just draft the best lineman in your eyes and then figure out the alignment from there. Just get the best 5 guys on the field. So let's get Spencer Fanu to Utah, to Cleveland at pick 12 in a trade down, putting you up with the Rams at 13.
So I'm really looking at 2 guys for the most part, and it's Monroe Freeling to help the offensive line need for Stafford this year, and then any quarterback going forward. And then Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver 3 in this draft. So far it would be wide receiver from USC. Those are the 2 guys, both helping offensive needs, both helping Matt Stafford tremendously. This team needs wide receiver help. Devontae Adams hasn't had a full season in like 4 or 5 years. He just doesn't play a full season anymore. And Puka Nacua is Puka Nacua. He's having quite the PR rep the last 6 months. So I have no idea what's even going to happen with that. But I'm kind of leaning offensive line, dude. What would you? I'm probably going to lock in Freeling. I'm not going to lie, but
I don't think the Rams take an offensive lineman at all. I don't even think it's in play until later in the draft. I think they're looking for guys that can come out immediately. They They apparently love Warren McClendon, who is their now starting tackle with Havenstein retiring. So I would personally lean Lemon, but I've also heard Lemon's not really a fit. Like they just don't think he's fit for the offense.
That's my thing with Lemon. He has to go to the right
yeah,
team.
maybe they go like I've heard a lot of buzz that they really like Casey Concepcion, but at 13, I just don't do it.
There's no shot. I don't even care if this is what we think is going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a world Casey Concepcion goes that high. Damn. Yeah, CJ Allen with his injuries and stuff, he's probably not going to go this high anymore. He's a linebacker that they could use.
Would you pay Ty Simpson's in play?
Do I think Ty Simpson's in play? Theoretically, yes. But I don't. I think the Rams are smart enough not to draft Ty Simpson. I'm just going to be blatantly obvious. I do not like Ty Simpson. I think Sean McVay is a smart individual who knows not to draft.
Would you trade down here? Because
I would happily trade down for sure.
Detroit's at 17. They can jump up past Baltimore, and then they can take Vega Ione.
I think the team that moves up is going to be for an offensive lineman.
Yeah, or
because the Baltimore needs an offensive lineman. The Bucs could use an offensive lineman. The Detroit could use an offensive lineman. Carolina could use an offensive lineman. Cleveland coming up again could use another offensive lineman. Pittsburgh coming up again needs another offensive lineman. Like, this is the stretch where offensive linemen are going to start to fly off the board. So I think the Rams moving back and trying to get either KC later in the draft or one of the later tackles being what's his face from Max. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce homie's last name. Yeah, Ihane Chor from Arizona State. Like, I don't think they're going to be the first ones to pull the trigger on a tackle at this point. Yeah, I mean, I get you just picked Fanu at 12, but if I don't pick, I'm just going to pull the trigger on Lemon because he's wide receiver 3, and there's no world I would pick KC Concepcion over Lemon. It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if the Rams stay, they take Lemon. And I know I brought up trading back to Detroit, but then you figure 16, the Jets are going to take Lemon, so that kind of puts the Rams out of that situation. Then it puts us in this situation again where we don't know who we're picking for the Rams. So it might just be best to stick it and pick here for LA.
Yeah, I'll go.
Right.
I'll go Lemon.
All right.
I'll get in. I don't like that pick at all.
14 for Baltimore. This is the chalk Vega Ione spot, but I do think Kenyon Sadiq is in play here. I believe you brought that up in the past.
Yeah, for sure.
And with the fact that there's some good guards in this class, maybe, but I just can't see Baltimore going away from their roots and just building the offensive line. So I am going to go with Vega Ione unless you could convince me to go Sadiq. But I just can't.
In a world where Stowers is in this draft class, I would never take Sadiq at 14 when I can get Stowers at 45. That's the way I'm looking at this draft class.
There we go. Okay. I am going to go Vega Ione. I know it's boring. I know it's chalk, but that's what we're going to do there. That puts you up 15 with Tampa Bay. I think this is another trade down spot. I think the Bucs are looking to trade down, but I assume you're looking at Mesidor here. I think this is kind of the range he starts coming into play. I know that's your guy.
I'm looking at Mesidor, and I'm also looking at Sadiq. They lost Mike Evans, so they're down their big body wide receiver. Now they have Chris Godwin. They have Emeka Ibuka. They don't have that kind of guy. I get Sadiq isn't Mike Evans. He's not 6'5", whatever Mike Evans is. Sadiq's shorter than that. He's a little bit thicker. But it's either him or Mesidor. I'm messing around with both. I could be swayed either way. I think Mesidor is a better fit. I think Sadiq's a fun, bright pick that, like, on paper just looks a lot nicer than a 25-year-old edge rusher. So I think I'm going to go with Sadiq to fit that offense just to throw out something different because Mesidor is the chalk pick.
All right.
And I think Sadiq goes way earlier in this draft than I personally think he should be going. So it fits a huge need. Cade Otton is not a caliber tight end, like a starting, like he doesn't move the needle. They lost their number one wide receiver. This team is in a window to win right now. So you go get Baker his weapons, dude. So I'm going to take Sadiq just to keep throwing off the draft class.
All right. That that takes away a likely pick for your division rival, which is the Panthers. Sadiq to Carolina is a heavily mocked situation.
For sure.
That puts me up here with the Jets, and I don't love the receiver board here.
No.
I don't. I love Omar Cooper Jr., but I recently heard that like the Jets see him more as like they'd rather take him in the second round. They don't want to take him at 16. So I don't think he's necessarily in play here. But the board is not great for the Jets' needs. So
it felt very similar to the Rams. Like the Rams don't have a lot of needs to where the Jets have a bunch of needs, but the way the board has been falling, it's a weird board so far. But I think a lot of teams are going to see Omar Cooper that way. Like I personally like him. I like Denzel Boston more than him.
I think I think it's a scheme thing. Like I think Omar Cooper would have been in play for the Rams at 13. I think he would have held value because he's physical, he's gritty, he's tough. He plays the kind of game that they're looking for. Which I mean, so does Mekhi Lemon, but like that's their style receiver. Like I think there's a world that a lot of teams are going to think Casey Concepcion is the third best receiver in this class. That is not how I see it, but that's how the board's kind of falling here for me, and that's where I'm going. I'm going to go Concepcion to the Jets at 16.
Ooh, to be a Jets fan. Oh boy, I'm not jealous.
The NFL loves him. And
I know the end.
And
how would you feel about the Giants and Jets just swapping picks? I think it works out both for best teams. I'm not gonna. If the Giants would trade 5 and 10 for 2 and 16, I think it fits both teams' draft needs perfectly, and I think it would work out way better for both teams. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, potentially. But a lot of draft analysts now are also coming out with Casey Concepcion as like their third ranked receiver. I'm not there, but
let them.
I'll gladly be wrong. I know a lot of people want to blame the quarterback, but Jordan Tyson was producing with shitty quarterbacks. Casey Concepcion couldn't. Like, I don't know. He's just not my cup of tea. But I would not be shocked if he goes top 20.
I think he's going to go earlier than we have him ranked for sure. Where do you have him overall? Do you know? Off your head?
In my 40s, in the 40 to 45 range.
I have him 42. So yeah, I'm right there with
same
you.
range. We see him similarly.
Yeah.
That puts you up 17 with the Lions. Hey, Jets fans, comment if you think Casey Concepcion is like in a world like I think trading back probably would have been the smarter move on my part, and then I could have got Concepcion in like the 20s. Like if Pittsburgh would have moved up and taken one of the tackles, I think we probably should have done that. But oh well. That puts you up with the Lions at 17.
I'm gonna go Monroe Freeling here, tackle Georgia. I think the Lions.
You think they would go him despite the fact he's never really played right tackle, and they've already said they're moving Penei Sewell to left?
This gives them a chance to just keep Sewell at right and just call it a day. To where what were you gonna bring up? Proctor?
I think they go Proctor if he's there. I think he's just more the fact he could play right or guard. I think that kind of gives him a little bit versatility. But I mean, personally, I would take Freeling. I agree with you. I like Freeling more than Proctor. But again, I think Proctor's going to be one of those guys the NFL's going to like more than I did. Like he's barely in my top 50.
Damn. Okay. I think I have both guys very similar. I just closed my top 100 list for some dumb reason.
Your guy Blake Miller, you don't think he's in play here?
I do, but I think the Lions are a team that will draft off of like freakish ability more so than low ceilings. Because I personally think Blake Miller is the best tackle left on the board. He would be the tackle I take. I think Detroit is looking for a meaner, physical, bigger body, and that's Freeling or Proctor.
Okay.
I'm gonna lock in Freeland now. And that still gives them the chance to keep Penny Sewell at his natural position. They don't need to move him. They've already said they're going to try to move him, but this is their out. You don't have to do it. Keep him at right. Let Freeland give his shot at left. If he doesn't work at left, swap him out. See what happens.
Okay. That puts me up 18 with the Vikings, and I don't love it. I love Dylan Thieneman. We both do. You like him more than I do. Like he's like 15 on my board. You had him in your top 10. So
yeah,
shout
out 9 currently.
Dylan Thieneman. I don't know if the Vikings pick him. I know that's like the biggest chalk pick. It's like that and Vegaione to Baltimore. It's Thieneman to the Vikings. The Vikings are really attached to Treydon Stukes.
You, Merck, and I have that mock going, and you passed on Thieneman to Minnesota in that mock as well.
Well, Jermon McCoy was shocked. There. Jermon McCoy was there, and I love Jermon McCoy. And this was before the whole
here right now, brother.
Yeah, but I don't know. This was before the news came out of Jermon McCoy and all this medical stuff that he might fall.
See, I have McCoy as my corner one. I would still take Thieneman over McCoy, even if both were healthy.
But the Vikings are heavily like into Treydon Stukes. Apparently, Brian Flores loves him. So I don't know if they go safety round 1. So this is kind of, the Vikings have kind of always gone BPA. I would say Caden McDonald or Peter Woods is in play here. But I also wouldn't rule out them taking the shot on Denzel Boston or Omar Cooper Jr.
I think receiver would also be in play with Addison's contract coming up because you guys are not going to re-sign Jordan Addison with his knucklehead behavior off the court.
We picked up the 5th-year option, so he'll be there at least another season.
Yeah.
But is Tay Felton the answer? They used a top 100 pick on him. He didn't get to play much last year. Jalen Naylor was there. Jalen Naylor's now not there, but I think the Vikings, if Omar Cooper Jr. is here, he's the type of receiver Kevin O'Connell likes. And
I would agree to that.
I think that's where they go because I think I can get Treydon Stukes in the 2nd round.
At 49?
I am going to go with Omar Cooper Jr. to the Vikings at 19. Or 18, sorry. That puts you up at 19 with Carolina.
Well, you did it again because that's who Carolina was targeting for sure. They would have taken Omar Cooper. They need that wide receiver that can do a little bit of everything, open up the field for Bryce Young, be his really good weapon right along with Tedero McMillan.
He's a better version of Jalen Coker, and I love Jalen Coker.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree to that. So now this puts Carolina in a really, really weird predicament where 4 receivers are gone. Sadiq is also off the board.
I think they would take your boy Thieneman. Or do you go tackle? Because Ike Ekwonu, as the Achilles or the ACL injury, you only signed Rashad Walker to a 1-year deal.
That's where I was looking. I was looking at Blake Miller because Proctor is more of a developmental tackle where Blake Miller can be ready come September and be the tackle they need him to be right off the rip. And then you have 2 really good tackles going into next season when Iggy's a back. So I don't hate that, man. I would. The 3 guys I'm looking at are Thielman, Blake Miller, and then Mesidor just to get more edge rush help. Because he's the guy that can play any line spot and be moved around and really help that defensive line out a lot and get a lot of pressure. I'm kind of leaning Blake Miller, though. I think Blake Miller can be very helpful day one for their offensive line. So I'm going to lock in Blake Miller.
Yeah, I am vastly lower on Blake Miller. But I think the NFL, like I said, he's going to be one of those guys the NFL really likes.
I really like Blake Miller for sure.
That puts me back up at 20, Cleveland. And went with Spencer Fanu at 12. The wide receiver board has not been nice here. I don't think Cleveland's in the Ty Simpson hunt.
I agree. I think they're a quarterback next season.
Yeah. So Denzel Boston, if I'm going to go receiver, I would say he's in play here. They don't have that big receiver.
What about Ohanachor? And then you can kick Fano inside.
Yeah, I don't love that just because, like, I mean, I think if I'm kicking someone, I think I would take Proctor and kick him inside. And there's been a lot of link between Cleveland and Caden Proctor. I was actually thinking just Cleveland could be the team to take Jermod McCoy. They can afford to redshirt a guy because they're not going to be competitive this year.
Yeah.
And Denzel Ward's getting old. Like he's not going to be around much longer in a football stance. And then like Tyson Campbell's fine, and Miles Harden at nickel, but I would say Jermod McCoy's just in play because this is a roster where you could do that. I would also consider Thieneman here, and the option of kicking Caden Proctor inside to guard. But I do think that's how I'm going to go. I'm going to take Proctor. I agree with you in your sense that Cleveland should just take offensive line and figure out the best five guys. And the NFL is going to love Caden Proctor. I know I've said I don't really love him, but I don't see him falling outside like the top 20. So I'm going to go with Proctor, double up on offense. Again, figure out the offensive line from there, putting you up 21 with Pittsburgh.
I think the Browns going 2 offensive linemen in the first is smart because they have a third first round pick.
So, they do this. I forgot we did
in this scenario,
trade,
yes,
yeah.
because we traded with Dallas again. So like,
hell yeah, yeah.
So the Browns now they're sitting whatever pick they traded for. I think it's their real first from Jacksonville last year.
This was the Dallas first.
Yeah. So in this scenario, they can do whatever they want now because they just went 2 offensive linemen. They can move either of them around, figure it out. Yeah. So now the Steelers are up at 21. I think this is kind of a spot where Ty Simpson could possibly go. And if he doesn't go here, it's almost someone needs to trade him because I don't think he's going to be...
Arizona or the Jets will move back up for him.
See, I would agree to that, but the Jets and Arizona just picked 33 and 34. So I think if any team, I think one of those teams just going to sit for Ty Simpson. I don't think one of them moves into the first.
I think Arizona likely would, just because if they believe the Jets are going to take him, they got to jump in and get him. So if the Jets kind of drum up,
if Ty Simpson doesn't go in the first, the Jets are going to be receiving calls from multiple teams. I don't know. Teams are going to call, even if it's not for Ty Simpson. The 33rd pick gets moved pretty often because they have a full night to work out a deal. So Arizona would be smart to move in and jump the Jets, but I don't know if Ty Simpson's worth that, to be honest.
I agree, but I think it is likely Ty Simpson ends up going round 1.
All right, so now we're up with the
But maybe
Steelers
he doesn't, and we get Mel Kiper yapping about him for 2 rounds like he did with Shedeur Sanders.
That don't happen, consider he fell to the 5th and fucking Mel Kiper had a meltdown about it.
Yeah.
I really like the Blake Miller fit here for Steelers. It sucks he's off the board. Ohanachor is really the only tackle left I think should be going first round. After that, it's Lomu and a bunch of guys that I don't think are going to go in the first. So I'm kind of looking at Pregnon maybe if I want to go inside, but I kind of like getting a tackle. So I'm going to go Max Ohanachor,
and
tackle Arizona State.
The news came out about Broderick Jones today that his neck injury, he's getting reevaluated. He might not be ready for camp or the season. So, and it also doesn't help Broderick Jones just isn't good. So
he's not that
getting a tackle, I love Ohanachor. So I don't hate that at all here at 21.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, it's possibly going to fit a huge need this season. So I think Ohanachor is more of a developmental kind of like offensive lineman, but I think he can play ready week 1.
Yeah. All right. Chargers at 22. Sorry, Merck. I ruined the dream of Omar Cooper Jr. here.
Man, could you imagine Dylan Thiedemann playing next to Darwin James? Man, oh man.
That would be something. Honestly, I would love to move out of this pick, but I don't know who anyone's moving up for. Dylan Thiedemann, I guess. The person I was actually looking at was TJ Parker. I think the Charger and Akeem Mesidor, it's those two guys. I
I
think the Chargers
I
are trying
truly
to
think
look for juice.
someone would jump up here and draft Dylan Thiemann. Philly picks next, and I would guarantee I'm picking him, the Philly.
Okay. Who?
I'm just saying he's going the next pick, and him in Philadelphia would be a absolutely disgusting fit, like in the best way possible.
Uh-huh. All the teams.
I don't think it's anyone
needs.
I don't think anyone's moving up, to be honest. I think just Dylan Thielman's falling into the laps of Philadelphia at this point.
They're the new Ravens. Everybody falls into the laps of Philly. But yeah, this to me, it's two guys. It's Akeem Mesidor and it's TJ Parker. Try to get ahead of the game to kind of get someone to replace Khalil Mack in the future. I know they have Tuli Tuipulotu as well, so he's like the pure edge rusher. So I'm going to go more of a power-based game, which would be TJ Parker. So that's where I'm going here for the Chargers. I'm going to go TJ Parker. That puts you up with Philly.
Yes. What a hard choice I have here for Philadelphia. They just lost
Reed Blankenship.
Yeah, Reed, who you hate.
They get one exciting white to the other.
They add another one. So I think him, Coop, they drafted Andrew Makuba last year. So he just fits that role because all three of those guys do drastically different things. So I think you add Dylan Thiedemann to this defense that needs secondary help to begin with. So I think that's a phenomenal fit for Philadelphia.
All right. Thiedemann to the Eagles. 24 for Cleveland. Again, I brought up Denzel Boston with the last pick. He's still here. That's where I'm going. I'm getting them a big-bodied wide receiver for Shadur Sanders or more for their quarterback in 2027. So let's get Denzel Boston in this room. If I didn't go with Boston, I probably would have leaned McNeil Warren. There's been a lot of buzz there about Cleveland and him potentially, but let's go with Denzel Boston, wide receiver from Washington to Cleveland.
All right, so I'm up 25
with the Bears.
Right? Yeah, with the Bears. They can kind of go anywhere. The Bears have had a really good offseason. Nothing really particular, like huge holes. I think their center did retire, so sure center, but they're not going to pull the trigger here at 25.
There's been some talks that they're in the market for a left tackle, so I don't know if you want to consider Lomu. I think they're more likely to trade up to get one of those guys because they're kind of in that situation where they can fuck around with their picks and try to just shell out for this year. So I don't know if they go Lomu, but
yeah, because they are a team that has 2 seconds as well, so they could easily pull the trigger and move around. The way the board fell, I'm not really looking at tackle because I'm not going to look at Lomu at 25. I think that's a little early. So I'm kind of looking at Keldrick Folk and Mesidor, who's still here. I do really like the fit of Keldrick Folk just to let him develop, but I think the Bears are in a win now predicament, and Mesidor is usually not here when I do mock drafts at 25. So I think him falling into the Bears' laps get them a pass rusher that they can absolutely utilize week 1. I've sat here on this podcast, and I think Mesidor is going to lead rookie pass rushers in sacks. So to get that on a Bears defense, that's a really young and exciting team. That can go a long way. So Mesidor to the Bears.
All right. That puts me up 26 with Buffalo. Real scenario, I think the Bills would be a trade back situation. They did trade that second round pick for DJ Moore, so it wouldn't surprise me if they try to stash up on some picks. But I like Caden McDonald here. Beef up the interior. The Bills need just a guy to plug in at nose tackle, and you're not going to find many bigger dudes in this draft than Caden McDonald from Ohio State. So
big boy.
That's where we're going here for the Bills at 26.
Yeah, for sure. And they need that kind of guy on their defensive line, a guy that can just sit in the middle, run, stop, eat the line, get double covered. That'll help their pass rush out a lot.
Yep. Put you up 27 to the Niners. They did just extend Trent Williams. So I wouldn't say that necessarily rules out Caleb Lomu, but it does kind of give them a little versatility here with this pick.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really looking at guys like Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Keldrick Folk, Caleb Banks, and probably the two guards that are on the board being Pregnon and
Basantis.
Basantes. I don't think Basantes falls into the first. I think if any of those guards fall into the first, it'll be Pregnon, but really, I'm not sure if either of them go in the first.
Mm-hmm.
You think they go like a bigger edge, like Keldrick Folk, or do you think they go a little more pass rush friendly with like Cassius Howe or?
So I mean, they do have the type because Nick Bosa, a little bigger, and Mikael Williams, a little bigger. So do you really want to get a third one? Well, a fourth one because did they sign Joey Bosa too? Let's see.
You're the guy with the depth charts. Let's see
depth charts
here.
are here. No, they didn't. He's not listed here. So I think they would kind of lean, a speed rusher in this situation. Just get a DPR, a designated pass rusher, instead of just compiling a fourth bigger body defensive lineman.
Can you quick go back to that depth charts and let me see their safety works? Because I do like Emmanuel McNeil Warren here.
Jair Brown, who I did not love out of Penn State. You liked him a little more than I did.
Out, yeah.
And Malik Mustafa, who I did love coming out of Wake Forest. And Upton Stout, dog, as the nickel.
Okay, yeah, so no, I think they're all right. I don't think they would. I mean, yeah, there's room to upgrade there, but I'm not sure it's really a huge, huge need.
Mm-hmm.
I do like both of those kids. Yeah, let's go with Cassius Howe. I think he's got a lot of upside. I think he can really develop in this defense, and he's not really needed to do anything besides pass rush his rookie year.
Yeah, I would have said Howell or Malachi Lawrence would have been the two guys there from a pure edge standpoint instead of just the bigger guys. That puts me up at Houston, and to me, this is the trade back spot. I think Houston is going to want to move out because their roster is good, and if they want to get one of those guards, they likely can get one at 34, where the Cardinals are going to be drafting. So we're going to pull the trigger. Move up the Arizona Cardinals here to pick 28 for the Houston Texans, and it's going to be Ty Simpson. We'll throw in pick 104, and we'll call that a day. Of course, I should have hit force trade. Why would I assume the simulator would have actually put the trade through for me?
No shot, bro.
Yeah,
always force the trade.
The simulator's telling me, like, you don't want Ty Simpson going round one. What are you doing?
The simulator gets it, dude. But I think Houston moving back also does kind of make sense because their interior line, they're not really going to draft here at 28. Mm-hmm. Sure, you could reach for Pregnon and Basantes. I don't think it happens. Running backs in kind of a need, but I don't think that's going to happen here at 28.
And like the other players, I think they would look at Peter Woods, Caleb Banks, probably make it to 34. So Arizona moving up here.
They also pick 38, so they have another early second. So a lot of these guys are all going to be clumped together come Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I think any team from like 20 to 42 are going to be looking to move, and I think there's going to be a lot of trades happening. So the trade now, Houston moves back Arizona up to 28 to go Ty Simpson.
Yeah. Ty Simpson, like, hey, I get it. Like, Ty Simpson's my QB3. But I do think at the end of the day, he ends up going at the end of the round one just to get that fifth-year option. I think that's more valuable from the quarterback standpoint than most other positions. So that's my logic behind it. Get that fifth-round option, and that puts you up Kansas City back up at 29. They went with Jordan Tyson at their previous first.
So now I'm looking at like Gerard McCoy. I don't think Terrell falls into the back end of the first. He's tested pretty poorly. Emmanuel McNeil Warren help out the defensive backs. All right, so I'm really looking at Keldrick Folk, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, and maybe Caleb Banks. Kansas City really, they can help with all field stuff. They do a lot
Mm-hmm.
of deep dive stuff into like backgrounds. So if Caleb Banks would be able to pass all that stuff with his off field issues, I think he would be in run here. Let's go Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I think him and Spags would really hit it off and be a guy that Spags could really utilize. And they missed out on some key pieces there at 9 with Ruben Bain going off the board, Sonny Styles going off the board, Caleb Downs going off the board all before 9. So I think them walking out with Jordan Tyson and Emmanuel McNeil Warren on Thursday would be a really good upgrade for this team.
Mm-hmm. That puts the Dolphins up. We went with Mansour Delane, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, you did at 11. So, this is a tricky one.
This is a story of a girl.
I also think this would be a trade back spot if Houston would stick and pick. Someone moves up here. Dolphins could just compile even more picks. I am going to go with Keldrick Falk here, get them some defensive line help, a little versatile piece. And we know the Packers organization came over. Their general manager came over from Green Bay, and he's Miami and Green Bay. They're sizes, so they like bigger players that pass these thresholds. Keldrick Falk's a big dude. He passes all those thresholds. So that's the pick there for the Dolphins at 30.
Patriots up at 31. The rumored team to get A.J. Brown come June 1st with all the reports coming out now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see what they have to give up. I'm wondering what the price for Brown's going to be. Because
never know with the receiver market.
That's what I mean. The receiver market's insane constantly. And for a guy he's not really holding out, but he's made it publicly known that he does not want to be in Philadelphia anymore. He wants to be traded. Please get me out of here. And it seems that
maybe like a 2 in Kayshon Boutte.
You think they receiver swap? You think they throw him one of their receivers?
I do think they throw him Boutte. He's kind of similar to Brown. They're both kind of bigger dudes. Mm-hmm. So I think Boutte, and it's been rumored that the Patriots are trying to move on from him. So Boutte for A.J. Brown, and then maybe the Patriots throw a second-round pick or something. I don't know if the Eagles get a first, especially next year's class. I don't know if the Patriots are going to move a 2027 first. So maybe Boutte in a second. I don't know.
Yeah, I also don't think that they're going to move a first in next year's class. So, New England, I'm kind of looking defensive line probably. Get to the quarterback a little bit faster. Interior guys, we got Caleb Banks, we got Peter Woods, we got Christian Miller still here on the board. Edgewise, man, we got Zion Young.
And Malachi Lawrence,
Gabe Yakis.
Gabe Yakis feels like a Patriot.
He does. He really. I see that. But do we think they just say screw it and go tackle?
Lomu is here, so it does kind of make sense.
That's kind of my mind. I think if Lomu being here and then the fall off after Lomu to tackles is insane.
Mm-hmm.
To where at 63 you're not going to get a tackle you really, really love. Tierman might be there.
Because this still lets you keep Will Campbell at tackle, which they said they're doing. And Lomu can slide into right tackle.
Yeah.
Elijah Vera Tucker, I can arrange this depth chart somehow. Elijah Vera Tucker, you see him at right guard backup. He's their starting left guard. Jared Wilson moving back to his natural position as center. Lomu as your right tackle in the works. That shores up to a nice little line. And if Will Campbell does struggle this year, you can move Lomu to left tackle and figure it out from there.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. And I hope one of the either edge guys or interior guys fall.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, go Lomu. Go Caleb Lomu, tackle Utah. 31.
All right. Rounding out round 1 is the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. Chris Johnson, obviously in play here. I think I do believe Chris Johnson is going, if he doesn't get picked in the first round, he's going to be one of the first 5 guys off the board in the second round. I don't think he makes it to the top. I think he's a top 35, essentially. But Logan, shout him out. He loves Zion Young. He's still here. So that is where I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks to round out the first round. Zion Young, the edge rusher from Missouri.
They also lost Boye Mafe
Boy,
in
Mafe,
in
yeah.
the offseason, so getting another edge guy to replace him just to get bodies on the line, it makes a lot of sense. Pass rush wins in the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
so keep the guys coming in.
Yeah. Before we start round 2, pick 33 with the New York Jets, let's shout out our affiliates over at W Energy and Findlay Hats. W Energy, it's good, clean energy. No artificial dyes, no sweeteners, none of that stuff. You see the yuzu, you see the Chainsaw Man Blood Orange. They also got a ton of other flavors, so check them out. I'm drinking some W right now in Big Yellow. I mixed them. Got a little orange lemonade type situation going on here. So go to w.gg or find them in your app store. Just search WDUBBY. Use the code Drafted Up for a nice 10% discount. Anytime you use that code, you get 10% off your purchase over at W Energy. Good, clean energy. Eat that dub. Be better with W Energy. And then, of course, Findlay Hats. I don't got one on now, but I got some with me. Ton of cool designs. They got the interchangeable laces. You could swap out the pins. They got the pockets on the inside. They do weekly drops every Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So check them out over at Findlay Hats. Their hats are built for good times and long times. If your hat is damaged or destroyed, they'll replace it or repair it absolutely free of charge. They got free shipping across the U.S. Click the link in the description. You'll get 15% off your first purchase over at Findlay. So join the Findlay Force over at Findlay Hats. Let's dive into round 2. Europe, pick 33 with the New York Jets. They went Arvell Reese and Casey Concepcion with their first 2 picks in round 1. Who are you looking at here at 33?
Corners, offensive line, not necessarily a huge need. Defensive line, you could touch on maybe CJ Allen. They don't necessarily need him, but he fell here.
Mm-hmm.
But with Gerard McCoy, my corner 1, still being here at pick 33, it just makes a lot of sense. You're getting not necessarily your Sauce Gardner replacement, but a guy that can be your lockdown number 1 corner. He's not Sauce Gardner. He's not that good, but in my eyes, he's the most talented corner when healthy in this draft class. You're getting him at 33 because of injuries. He didn't play football last year. It makes that KC Concepcion pick a hell of a lot better when you're walking out with maybe 3 guys that should have went in the first instead of KC very early in the first and then someone in the second that not necessarily has the talent of Gerard McCoy. So I think the Jets lucked out getting a guy that fell this far because of injuries. At 33, it makes that other pick look a lot better on paper. So Gerard McCoy, corner, Tennessee, 33 to the Jets.
Hell yeah. That puts me up here with Houston making their debut. They traded back. This was originally the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to look at interior offensive line here, and it's pretty much Basantes, Pregnon, or Rutledge. Take your pick, no matter how you rank them. I think the NFL is going to be higher on Pregnon. I actually have Rutledge ranked higher in my rankings of the 3, but I think Pregnon is going to be the first true guard picked outside of Vegaione. So we're going to go with Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon here, 34 for the Houston Texans.
I think I have them back-to-back in my rankings. I really try not to go like positional back-to-back in rankings, but they might be one of the like 2 or 3 positional back-to-backs in rankings. One of them is Tate and Tyson receivers, and then I think the other one is Pregnon and Basantes for the guards. Yeah. So
mine was Tate and Lemon, and then I had Simpson and Nussmeier back-to-back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right, you're up 35 with Tennessee. They went David Bailey round 1. Where are you looking here at 35?
You could definitely look interior line. You could look Basantes. You could look Rutledge. Running back's a need, but I don't think a running back should be going this early. Like Love in my eyes is the only top. I think I've Mike Washington at 50. I think 50 is my next running back, so almost a 50 gap between running back 1 and
I'm
running
like
back 2.
watching it at like 64, and he's my RB2.
Yeah. So we went David Bailey, correct?
Yes.
So we went edge. I think I'm about to really hammer defense heavy here because I think I'm going to go C.J. Allen, linebacker, Tennessee, to get Robert Salas like a fully functioning defense. And
you got to be super smart to run that Georgia defense, and C.J. Allen's been doing it from day one.
For sure. And Cam Ward showed from like the middle of the year to the end of the year on like progression. He took a lot of steps forward. He looked a lot better in the back end of the year. I still like their running backs. I like Tony Pollard, and I like Tajay Spears at the end of the day. Yeah, they can get the job done this year. I personally think wide receiver is way more of a need for this team than running back is. I really think their running backs can get the job done for the season. But to get Cam Ward like the optimal help, I would look at wide receivers here. But the top wide receiver is Chris Bell. He's not going to be ready week 1 most likely. Yeah, you got the injury concern for C.J. Allen, but I think he's going to be ready to play week 1. And you're getting a guy that can run your defense with David Bailey coming off the edge. That's the start of a really functioning defense ran by Robert Salas. So C.J. Allen here to Tennessee at 35 would be an absolute steal in my eyes.
You're a little higher on C.J. Allen than I am. I like him. He was in my 30s, but you had him top 20 on your board. So, like I said, check out the Substack. You'll see our full top 100 boards there. I will also post our individual mock drafts there tomorrow or today or tomorrow before Thursday. That puts me 36 up with the Raiders. Welcome to the show, Las Vegas. We kind of skimmed over you the first time and went with the obvious pick of Fernando Mendoza. And kind of do a little bit of everything here. The team has a ton of needs, and I think I'm going to go with my guy here, Chris Johnson, the corner from San Diego State. I look receiver, but again, I like the value better at 67 when they pick again, when I can look at, Antonio Williams, Elijah Surratt, compared to potentially reaching a little bit here for I love Jeremy Bernard, but the NFL he's probably not going top 36. He's probably more of a back end of the second round guy. So I'm going to go with Chris Johnson, the corner, get this team some secondary help here in the second round.
Hell yeah. That's a good pick.
That puts you up with the Giants at 37. Yeah.
So we went Caleb Downs at 5 and then Carnell Tate at 10. So Ohio State. Definitely breaking that trend right here. I'm going to go interior offensive line. I'm going to go Chase Basantes to help Jackson Dart out. I think he could really help. He really help from day one, and the Giants need interior guard help. So Hardball would like to fit. I like it for Jackson Dart. I like it for the run game. I think Basantes would be a good fit for that.
I did a classic look at the board of fantasy football wise of what your the teams need behind you when I picked for Houston, because I was gonna lean Peter Woods or Caleb Banks there, but then I'm like, oh, the Giants need a guard, the Titans need a guard, the Raiders could take a guard. I'll take a guard first and hope one of those DTs fell to me, and they did here for Houston at 38. Peter Woods probably the safer player, but if Caleb Banks was healthy, he's a top 10 dude in this class. So I'm going to swing for the fences here, and Houston's roster is really good, so they can afford to take that risk. So I am going to go with Caleb Banks here for the Texans at 38.
I was looking at Banks over Basantes for the Giants. Do I want to go defensive tackle? I get we just traded Dexter Lawrence. We need a replacement right off the rip. I think the DT class is not necessarily amazing, but it's deep. And I think it's way deeper than guard, where we can get one of those guys later in the draft to help just be a body this year, not necessarily be a Dexter Lawrence, because you're not going to get that in the draft class, most likely.
Yeah.
Especially after the top 10 picks. But to get a guy that can just sit there and hold down a defensive tackle spot, and like we said, we freed up cap room. I believe we already brought a guy in. I'm blanking on his name. I probably should have had that handy. But I really like the Basante's pick, and then Caleb Banks going to Houston is a phenomenal fit. So
That puts you up with Dallas at 39. We moved them up and traded their 12 and 20 to Cleveland, and they moved up to 6 and draft Sonny Styles, but they got this pick in return. So up here, 39, Dallas Cowboys. Where are you looking at?
I'm looking at Peter Woods, Colton Hood, Christian Miller.
I saw a mock draft that had them taking Colton Hood at 12. Apparently, that is there's some buzz in Dallas that they really like Colton Hood.
I really like Colton Hood, but not at 12, brother. No, I'm gonna be cool with that. I'm not gonna. I was more so looking at Peter Woods, but I think Colton Hood would be a really good fit in that team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm cool with Colton Hood. Cornerback, right. Tennessee.
Yeah. Puts me up with the Chiefs at 40 here, and they went with Jordan Tyson and
Emmanuel McNeil
Warren. Okay, nice little draft here for the Chiefs. In classic Kansas City fashion, I'm just going to go with the best player available, that is Peter Woods, and put him there with Chris Jones. I'm looking at Christian Miller's name and it threw me off. Put Peter Woods there with Chris Jones. Hope it works out. Andy Reid kind of, keep that motivation level up, and maybe that's a good thing for Peter Woods. Kind of humble him here. He falls out of the first round. So we're going to go Peter Woods here, 40 to the Kansas City Chiefs. And hey, welcome to the show, the Cincinnati Bengals at 41.
So I'm looking at Rutledge here. I'm looking at...
Yeah, the nice thing about the Lawrence trade for them is like they don't necessarily have to go defense now in the second, that they could look at the interior offensive line, like you brought up here. But it kind of opens them up to that a little bit. And like we've done mocks where like at 10, the defensive board just fell that it didn't work out to them. We're like, I guess we're going Dylan Thieneman. So it does give them a little bit of versatility here at 41.
Yeah, like I said, Rutledge, but I'm also looking at Jacob Rodriguez. I think he could be a guy that could really run the defense from the linebacker position. Yeah, you got Lawrence. You've helped your defensive line out a little bit.
It doesn't concern you that they drafted
what's his face last year?
Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter. They drafted 2 linebackers last year.
Barrett Carter doesn't bother me at all. Demetrius Knight would be the other linebacker. They would both be the Mikes. Stewart, and then you're adding Dexter Lawrence onto that with Chris Jenkins. All right, so Rutledge, maybe AJ Halsey, safety LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people have him a lot higher than I do.
I have AJ Halsey in my top 30. I think he's a dog. I love him. Malachi Lawrence in play here. He's really like the last true edge rusher before the kind of like
I was looking at Lawrence, and I was even looking at Gabe Yakis. I think Yakis could go here. I think Yakis would be a good fit. I think Lawrence would be a good fit. You can go around with either of those guys.
Yeah, the reason I didn't bring Yakis up is because Mafe and Shamar Stewart are kind of similar to Gabe Yakis, that I don't know if you want 3 of those guys, whereas Malachi Lawrence is kind of a more Miles Murphy, but Miles Murphy really is the weak spot of that edge rush group.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go AJ Halsey here. I kind of talked myself into that because after him, it's kind of it's Ramsey, it's Genesis Smith, it's Akeem Wheatley, it's Bud Clark.
Stukes. You're disrespecting.
Yeah,
but I guess you see him as a corner.
I think he's a corner. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think he's a corner. I think Scott's Scott's a corner. Mm-hmm. Like I think they're in between guys where these guys are like pure safeties, and I think after Halsey, there's a big fall off on pure safeties. So I'm gonna lock in Halsey here at 41. I think it's a little bit of a reach, but like you said, you have him in your top 30. I know a lot of people have him pretty close to their top 35-ish. So at 41, I don't think it's that much of a reach.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all. That puts me up with New Orleans. We went with Ruben Bain with their first pick, and I brought up wanting to get a weapon in the second round, and that is what we're going to do. Chris Bell, wide receiver, Louisville. We're reuniting him with Tyler Shuck. I think he's a perfect complement to Chris Olave, so that's where we're going. here for the Saints. I'm going to go Chris Bell, the wide receiver out of Louisville.
Over the last couple of weeks, I've just I don't want to say I've soured on Chris Bell, but I've definitely moved him down my rankings. Like I've had Bernard jump him, I've had KC jump him.
I've Bernard over him as well, but I think Bernard or Bell's a better fit for the Saints. What Kellen Moore wants to do, plus the familiarity with Shuck.
I agree. I think he's a better fit than Bernard. It's just that I don't know. I look at him as kind of just like I would love to see his route tree just be a lot deeper, and it's really not.
If you go back and watch his stuff with Shuck, it's a little bit better. They do run more routes. I think the lack of route tree last year was more Miller Moss's deficiency as a quarterback than it was Chris Bell's deficiency. But Chris Bell absolutely does need to shore up his route tree, but Miller Moss doesn't have a good enough arm that you could utilize Chris Bell as a field stretcher where Tyler Shuck does, and that's why they were kind of running all those just crossers with Chris Bell this past year. It was because Miller Moss just doesn't throw a good deep ball.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. Yeah, for sure. The Miller Moss thing's definitely stuff I've taken into consideration. Mm-hmm. It's just that Bernard, I think, is the way overall rounder, better player,
Absolutely.
And even. I think KC's a little more flashier.
Yeah, I don't think
he just does a little bit of everything.
I don't think he has the ceiling Chris Bell has.
I would agree. I think Chris Bell. I would even say Chris Bell's a higher ceiling than KC Concepcion as well.
I think Chris Bell's ceiling is AJ Brown.
It could be in that ballpark for sure. I would agree to that.
That puts you up with Miami. We went with Mansour Delane and
11, and then Keldrick Falk at 30. Yeah, so we've gone heavy defense, which the Dolphins desperately need, but
needs across the board.
They also could use a wide receiver, and Chris Bell was one of the ones I was looking at for the Dolphins. But man, Jeremy Bernard would just be a really good fit because he can do anything for this team. He's such a good overall round.
He's the type of receiver they need. They have 3 big play flashy guys.
But I'm also looking at Rutledge. Like this team desperately needs interior offensive line help to protect Malik Willis as safe as possible. And again, we brought up the Green Bay regime. They usually go trenches before weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this team's just going to kind of kick receiver down the lane and just hope for the best and just
Which means they're drafted
Willis.
Bryce Lance or Chris Prassel in the 3rd.
Yeah, I could definitely see that for sure. But I am going to lean Rutledge here to solidify a better offensive line and the trenches play. Because the Green Bay mentality is you win in the front, front 5 on the offense and the front 7 on the defense. So defense gets the job done. Offense line gets the job done. You got to protect Malik Willis at any cost.
Mm-hmm. All right, that puts the Jets back up. They have Jermod McCoy earlier this round, Casey Concepcion, and Arvell Reese in the 1st round. I think this is where I'm going to go with Jacob Rodriguez. Just get them a smart, just good turnover, force him middle linebacker to shore up that Jamin Sherwood's not enough as my second inside linebacker to keep me away from considering Jacob Rodriguez here. So that's where I'm going, just getting a good, smart football player in Rodriguez. And this is the range where I'm really Rodriguez is just outside my top 50. I think he was my 51st player. I don't get the 1st round buzz. He's still undersized.
He's getting a lot of 1st round buzz, and it's still heating up.
Yeah,
for sure.
This is where I like him a lot. Is the 40 to 50 range of this class and this area. So I think there's a good get for the Jets. Is their 4th pick. That's a good value there, and I think this is his range. I don't think he makes it past Tampa Bay at 46, and he's definitely not getting past Indianapolis at 47.
Yeah, 100%. I have him at 32 right now. I don't think he's going to go any higher. He might fall a spot or 2 come tonight because I'm going to finalize it tonight. But I really do like Jacob Rodriguez. I like CJ Allen a little bit more, obviously, as just a pure linebacker. But Rodriguez is right there with him. I really like both those guys to just run the mics for a defense. And you're probably getting the guy that's probably going to get a second contract with your team most likely. So maybe even more so than C.J. Allen and Jacob
a nice
Rodriguez.
mustache.
So can't go wrong with a nice stash, dude.
I put you up 45 with Baltimore. They went Vega Ione in the first. Where are you looking at here for the Ravens?
I would have loved Jacob Rodriguez here. I think that would have been a really good fit. Sure. What receivers are on the board?
Jeremy Bernard, Chris Brazzell, Zach Branch.
Oh, damn, you already had the receivers up and running. I could have just looked right here on the split screen. Man, Bernard would be the one guy I would go, but I don't want to say he's similar to Flowers, but I think if Flowers was in the right system, he could do a little bit of everything. I think he was used particularly like to his full strengths under Harbaugh, but I think he can outstretch that a little bit more this season. Oh, man, I would have loved Rutledge here. I think it's a little bit too early for Connor Liu. I have him at like 60. I think it's just a little early for a center. Let's just look at the BPA guys here. Christian Miller, Lee Hunter, corner. What do you think here? What would you? Let's get some insight from Thanard on this pick.
The first guy that came to my mind was Malachi Lawrence. Just get Baltimore. I get they have Mike Green, but it doesn't seem like that's working out yet right now. And Mike Green.
Okay, well, hold on.
And that gives them a rotation that they can rotate Mike Green and Malachi Lawrence, and they have Trey Hendrickson. And that gives you 3 pass rushers to kind of just let Jesse Minter have fun with.
What about Eli Stowers? We talked about Sadiq in the first round.
I don't hate that either. I think he's a good replacement for Isaiah Likely and an eventual replacement for Mark Andrews.
I think Sowers and Isaiah Likely are pretty much the exact same kind of player. They are really big wide receivers. Obviously right now Isaiah Likely can block better than Stowers, but coming into the NFL, Isaiah Likely could not block. No. He has gotten a little bit better over time. He's still not a great blocker, but he can do what is needed of him. I would be cool with Stowers. I would also be cool with Lawrence. I'm just going to kind of let you just throw in one of those guys. I like both those guys here. I think they would both be really good fits.
Yeah,
I have Sowers in my top 30.
Yeah, we'll take your guy because that'll save us from just doing the chalk thing of giving Carolina Eli Stowers at 51. So yeah, let's go with Eli Stowers to the Ravens at 45. And that puts me up with the Bucks at 46, and they went Kenyon Sadiq.
They went Sadiq, yeah.
In round 1. So this is easy then for me. This will be Malachi Lawrence. Get them just some juice on that defensive line. So yeah, we'll go Malachi Lawrence to the Bucks at 46, putting up the debuting Indianapolis Colts at 47.
So linebacker is a definitely need here, but with Jake Golday is the top linebacker here. I think it's just a little bit too early, but again, this
Anthony
is
Hill. Anthony Hill's top linebacker.
Is he ranked higher than Golday now?
On here, consensus, yes, but
okay.
I think I have Golday ranked higher on my personal rankings.
I have them pretty close. I just don't think a linebacker here at 47 is the smartest move for the Colts because they only have one top 100 pick.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you want to make your only pick in the top 100 a linebacker.
Do they not have a third?
No. The 47, I'm pretty sure, is their only pick in the top. Oh, we only did 2 rounds.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Okay, so I'm only looking at the 2 rounds. But either way, after Jeremy Bernard, it is quite the fall for wide receivers. You're getting to, like, guys that are only good at 1 or 2 things. They're not good at, like, full packages. Jeremy Bernard was my cutoff for wide receivers that I think could be number 1 receivers in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I don't think Alec Pierce is the number 1 receiver, and I've been very bold about that.
Bernard gives them a well-rounded room with him,
yes,
Pierce, and Downs.
Yes. He can do a little bit of what Pierce and Downs do together. He's a well-rounded receiver to where Downs is a shorter level kind of guy, and then Alec Pierce, I truly think is just a take the top off of a defense, deep threat wide receiver. So I'm going to go Jeremy Bernard here and give them a wide receiver that can really, really help this team out going forward and do everything from a wide receiver stance. And he's not just a one-trick pony.
Yeah. All right. 48. Also, welcome to the show, the Atlanta Falcons.
A debuting team. That's crazy. These teams picked back-to-back, like 47 and 48.
Bernard would have been my pick here.
Nice. Sniped him.
Yeah, that would have been a nice need for Atlanta. So,
what about Terrell?
If I'm taking a nickel corner, I'm taking D'Angelo Pons. I think he's better than Avion Terrell. Like, I have D'Angelo Pons at 31. I have Avion Terrell like 48.
Damn.
I'm telling you, I fully believe D'Angelo Pons could be an outside corner in the NFL. I don't care about the size.
We definitely see him differently. I have Terrell at 39, so pretty close to where you have him. But I have Pons at 61. I just think he's all right. He's fine.
Yeah. Lee Hunter in play here as well. Get them some help on the interior line. Edge, Gabe Akis would be a nice fit here. This is a tough spot. The board is not falling nicely for Atlanta.
Our Mason Thomas consensus rankings does not make sense to me. I've never once seen this man picked early in a mock draft. I've never seen him picked in the top 50. And his consensus is 48 or whatever it is.
He's just kind of like, I like our Mason Thomas, but he does have concerns size wise. And like, I just don't think he's as good of a pass rusher as Cassius Howell, who also has size concerns. But, man, what's the Falcons' depth chart looking like?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Would have loved a wide receiver. This is receiving.
Man, you would have loved Jeremy Bernard on this team. But hey, shout out Kyle Pitts, baby.
Yeah.
Get that money.
Yeah. The offensive line's good. Well, this needs to be updated.
Rook's not there anymore. He got traded.
Traded Rook for Mason Smith, who is a nose tackle. They're doing Rook dirty by putting him at the nose.
I think your best route is getting them defensive line help or getting more secondary help.
Yeah, I was thinking edge rusher, James Pierce. We don't know what kind of troubles this guy's getting into. That gives you another option outside of Jalen Walker. But yeah, like safeties are good. They do need an upgrade at outside corner. But there's the problem. Like the outside corners in this class are rough. Like this is a great class for nickel corners, but man, they kind of have. I don't know if they would take Pons. I don't. Like I personally would. So I'm going to go with Gabe Akis. That gives me the option to get a guy who can put his hand in the ground, but also stand up, be an edge rusher, and they could find a place for him. There's his versatility really sells him here, and I think he's incredible value at 48. He's in my top 25. So Gabe Akis, Illinois, to the Falcons at 48. That puts you up with the Vikings at 49.
So you went Yakis there. I think that's a good pick. Minnesota went Omar Cooper in the first. So we're looking at safeties, defensive line. You think Christian Miller and Lee Hunter are in play here?
I think they would be, but defensive tackles aren't really valuable for Flores' defense. He kind of just puts guys there. Like I said, when I took Cooper, I think this would be Traden Stukes. I know you're lower on him, but I think he is the Flores type player. If they would go safety here, because he kind of is versatile. He can play safety, corner, and that's what Flores values.
Yeah, no, I get that. Oh man, I have him like 68. That's so low.
And I have him in. I think I have him like 41 on my board. Like the Vikings need a nose tackle, so they need beef, which would be Christian Miller over Lee Hunter. Lee Hunter would have to play defensive end with the Flores scheme. So if you would go interior defense, it would be I would lean Christian Miller.
I would lean Miller over Hunter regardless. I think he's a better player.
Mhm.
I think at this point Miller would be maybe my BPA, which is something you guys also do. You guys just
Yeah.
draft BPA, and then you're also drafting somewhat of a need. But I get going safety here. Nah, give me Christian Miller, Georgia.
All right, Christian Miller, defensive tackle, Georgia to the Vikings at 49. That puts Detroit up at 50. You went with Monroe Freeling.
Yeah.
Would have loved Gabe Akis here for the Lions. They're not going to go with a smaller edge like R. Mason Thomas. This is where I think I'm going to go with Brandon Cisse. He's raw outside corner, and Detroit still needs help there. Yeah, Terrion Arnold seems more concerned about his podcast and his off-field stuff, and so let's get another guy in that room. Enos Rakestraw can't stay healthy, so we're gonna go with Brandon Cisse. I have him as a top 50 player. He is my 50th player, so that's right where he goes. But it seems the NFL is a little bit higher on him. I see him going like end of round 1, early round 2 in a lot of mocks.
Yeah, the NFL is way higher on him than I am. I just actually dropped him out of my top 50 earlier this morning. I think I'm like 58, 59 in that range. He's just so raw. He's almost a guy that you need to develop a full game for.
Yeah.
He just needs, but he has the athleticism. Like he
Incredibly
has what it takes. He just needs to be molded. So going to Detroit would definitely be a good fit for him.
Yeah. That puts you up 51 with the Panthers. We went with Blake Miller in the first. So where are you looking at here for Carolina?
Look, definitely weapons. I'm looking at the wide receivers, and they're not great. I think if I had to go with one of them, I would go with Surratt.
Okay.
I think he's the best receiver
26 on
here.
my board. I'm bullish. So,
whoa,
dude,
26.
26. I love his game.
26 is whoa. Okay, I was not expecting that. I think I did switch him and Fields in my rankings. Surratt ended up getting my 10th spot over Malachi Fields. I think he's the best receiver here. I have him over Wilson, over Lance, over Bell, definitely over Brazil.
You hate that guy.
I actually made a bold stance on him today, and I moved him out of my top 100. Wow. I do not like him.
Oh.
I think he's an absolute. I do not like his game. I do not think he's going to.
You have Surratt over Branch? You love Zachariah Branch.
No, I was just about to correct myself. That Branch would be my wide receiver 1, but I don't think Carolina would take him. Gotcha. I think Surratt would be a better fit. Branch is a special receiver. He's a little undersized. He's 5'10", like 180. He just needs to go to a right system. I don't think Carolina is that right fit, where Surratt, he's more NFL ready. He's 6'2". He's a little over 200 pounds. He's a big body. He fits what Carolina does with Tedero McMillan, Xavier Legette. They like their big wide receivers. I don't think Branch is that kind of guy. Yeah, let's go Elijah Surratt. I think he's going to go earlier than a lot of people think he's going to go.
You ain't going to get any pushback from this guy in that regard. So 52, welcome to the show, the Green Bay Packers.
So he's your Stowers, because I have Stowers top 30, where you have Surratt top 30, but their rankings is pretty close to like the mid 50s.
I have Gabe Akis top 30, and he was
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, and AJ Halsey's in my top 30. This is the class that you can kind of fuck around with. All right, Packers are up. I'm gonna go with Lee Hunter here. I think he's a good fit for the Packers defense. I'm just gonna look like sizes. They're not gonna take Avion Terrell or D'Angelo Pons at corner. I'm not looking at receiver here. Oh, Traydon Stukes, though. They kind of have that with, what's his name? Bullard from, Javon Bullard from Georgia last year. or 2 years ago, whenever he came in the league. Man, they really need an outside corner. Ugh. But these guys, they would love Davis and Igbinosun, but I cannot bring myself to pick him in the top 55. He is just not. He's not for me. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with my initial gut. That's Lee Hunter, defensive tackle from Texas Tech to the Packers. Putting you up 53 Pittsburgh. We went with Maxey and Achor in the first round. So where are you looking at here for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
How in the world did I get stuck with the Steelers for both picks? That's crazy work.
Yeah, would your guy Zach Branch be in play here? He's the type of receiver they don't have.
That they don't have. Yeah, I was looking at weapons. I'm looking at Branch. I'm looking at one of the running backs. I think
one of the running backs. Wow.
I think they truly gave up on Caleb Johnson.
Well, new regime, so that's fair.
I think Caleb Johnson is not going to be a Steeler at the end of the season. I don't even know if he makes the team. I'm going to be blatantly obvious with you.
Wow, hot takes. It's not really that hot. Yeah, he kind of.
So the running back room is Jalen Warren and
Rico Dowdle.
I don't see any of those guys as like an RB1. And like I said, I think Caleb Johnson's off this team. Unfortunately, I just don't think the regime's going to like him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the running back class. So I personally wouldn't take Price. I don't think he would be my RB2. But then I think I have Mike Washington around this range, but I don't think he's going to go that early. I don't think Coleman's going to go that early. I don't think Emmett Johnson's going to go that early, who I like. Damn, the Steelers are a rough one. How'd the cornerback board fall?
They're all
Terrell's still here. They're all definitely not Steelers.
They're all nickels.
Well, who's their nickel? Because they got Joey Porter.
They got Asante Samuel,
who could be upgraded. That guy was hated when he was with the Chargers.
Jalen Ramsey's their nickel, so arguably the best player on their defense that's not TJ Watt is slotted in the nickel spot.
Okay, well, what's their linebackers looking like? Because
Patrick Queen and Cole Holcomb. Peyton Wilson's also there. Anthony Hill? Is that who you were looking at?
I was just looking at Anthony Hill. Him or Trotter.
He's just an upgradable Patrick Queen. Like, Patrick Queen you can move on from.
Yeah. Man. Do the Steelers go linebacker in round 2? Yeah, man. I think Anthony Hill's going to go pretty close to the top 50. Yeah, lock in Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker, Texas.
Yeah, the NFL, again, he's one of the guys, I think the NFL really likes him. You see that in his like consensus rankings, that he's going a lot higher. Philadelphia at 54, they got Dylan Thieneman in round 1. You're going to say this is disgusting, but I think I'm going to go with Chris Brazzell. Hear me out.
That's fine.
Hear me out. He's the type of receiver Jalen Hurts likes. He is just a throw it deep. That's his specialty. And that's Jalen Hurts doesn't want to throw in the middle. He just wants to throw it deep. And that's Chris Brazzell's.
I took him out of my top 100 consciously knowing he's going to go top 100. I'm going to take the L on that one. It's more so just that in 3 years, I would rather look back at myself and be like, I stuck to my guns and I did not like him coming out. I do not like Tennessee receivers coming out. They are such a weird predicament because Tennessee knows what they're doing, and that's the way they use these guys.
But he was
NFL team. But
he was also productive in a different system outside of Tennessee.
He was productive, but I don't think round 2 productive. I don't think I would spend a second round pick on this kid. So I wouldn't spend a third round pick on him. To be honest, I just do not like him.
Like, I really like Jayshawn Barham, and I do think he goes in the top 75. R. Mason Thomas is here, but like the Eagles have just all these smaller edge guys. Do we continue to add to that? We don't need a nickel. That's Coupe de Jean has that locked down. I don't like Big Citrus in this situation. Like, this is a weird spot that I kind of just want to move Seattle up here to draft Jadarian Price, and then I'm more comfortable with Brazil at 64 than I am at 54.
I get Brazil going 54 if you just want to lock him in here. Like, I wouldn't bat an eye at it. I just personally do not think his game's going to translate to the NFL.
We'll do a second round trade. I think Seattle, if they see Jadarian Price falling, and we got Denver coming up, we got Houston coming up, we got Jacksonville coming up, and the NFL's higher on Jadarian Price than we are. Like, I wouldn't be moving up personally for Jadarian Price, but like I think teams are going to want him. We'll just do a fourth next year. Seattle has no picks this year, and the Eagles can just shore up, get some more picks for 2027. So Seattle moving up here to Philadelphia's spot, trading 64 and a fourth round pick in 2027, and they're going to take Jadarian Price, the running back from Notre Dame. I know Logan is going to be in the comments thrilled. They're walking out with Zion Young and Jadarian Price. You're welcome, buddy.
That's definitely a good takeaway for Seattle. Like, that's a draft they would be very happy with.
Yeah. That puts you up 55 with the Chargers. I went with TJ Parker there with their first pick. So where are you looking at going here for the Bolts?
Let's see here. We went Parker, so we went edge, which got that need. I don't like any of the receivers here at 55, except Branch, but I don't think they would take a receiver. Guards. It's just like Connor Lew. These guys are gonna go at some point, but I just don't know when.
Where'd you fall on Jennings Dunker? Like, he's ranked 63 here. Like, I have him in my 90s. I just worry about his footwork.
I'm at 72.
Okay, so you're still a little bit lower than, because I think his consensus is like 63 to 70. So, but I know everybody loves this fit Jennings Dunker in a Mike McDaniel system. I personally think this is a little early. I think they could probably get him in the third.
His consensus is 59, so it wouldn't be too much of a reach here. And I have been seeing a lot of like Dunker to the Chargers. I personally think it's a little bit of a reach. Like I said, I'm in the 70s, but just pull the trigger here at 55 because interior linemen are going to go. I just don't know when like Dunker's going to start going, and then Lou, and then Hatch, and Jones, and Farmer. Like, these guys are all going to go top 100. I just don't know in what range of like the mid-second to early to late third they're all going to go.
Yeah.
But I think once one starts going, they're going to start like domino falling the interior linemen because they're almost just like clumped together. You have like the top three guys being, outside of Iguane, it's Pragnon, it's Basante, it's Rutledge, and then after that, it's Dunker, it's Lou, it's Hatch, it's Jones, and they're all just so clumped together. And I think Dunker's the top of that, so I think he's going to be the top one to go.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to the show. The Jacksonville Jaguars here at 56. I feel like I've got all the teams that had except for the Colts.
I was at the Colts.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I have Denver too, so cool.
Man, I'm so glad the Jags traded all of that stuff for a part-time wide receiver.
I don't know what they're doing with Travis Hunter. It'll be interesting.
Don't worry. They don't do the Jags, so it doesn't matter.
I think they will figure it out. But it's funny that their two listed needs are wide receiver and corner. I don't necessarily think they need a receiver. Like, you got to remember, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas Jr., Jacoby Myers, and Travis Hunter's your fourth receiver. And then corner-wise, like, Travis Hunter's your CB1. You got Jerry and Jones, who's good. Jordan Lewis is a good nickel. Monteric Brown, you could probably use an upgrade at outside corner. But again, we're in this situation where, like, there are no outside corners here. So they lost Devin Lloyd. I'm going to replace him. Jake Galday's still here. Josiah Trotter still here. And I'm going to leave one of those guys. I have Trotter higher on my board, but Golday's a little bit more versatile like Devin Lloyd. So he was playing nickel for Cincinnati at times. So I think Jacksonville will value that versatility. and he'll be a fine replacement for Devin Lloyd. So we'll go with Jake Golday, linebacker from Cincinnati, 56 of the Jaguars. Putting you up with the Bears at 57, you went with Keldrick Falk?
Nah, Messidor.
Messidor, yeah, you're right. We went Falk with
Messidor in the
Miami.
first. So Bears have 2 picks coming up here, so we can kind of play the board. Who picks around them? We got the Niners, we got Houston,
and the Texans,
and then the Bears. I'm definitely making one of these picks Connor Lew.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to punt center and hope I can get it at 60, but seeing the Niners and Houston in between me, both of those teams could use a center. And I think Connor Lew is by far the best center in this draft. So I think taking him here at 57 and letting the board fall to me however it falls to 60.
I think Connor Lew not had that ACL injury. He's an easy top 50 pick in this class.
I would agree to that for sure. I'm going to take Connor Lew, center, Auburn.
All right. That puts me up with the 49ers. We went with Caleb Lomu in the first round. I'm going to get Traydon Stukes off the board here, give them, a nickel safety hybrid type guy here. So Arizona, Traydon Stukes, I'm a little bit higher on him than you are. So yeah, Traydon Stukes to the Niners at 58. That puts you up with the Texans, who are making their third pick in this round.
Hell yeah, dude.
Caleb Banks and Emmanuel Pregnon were their 2 selections.
Building the trenches, which this team needs, and they also needed the center, but with Lew off the board, I think it's a little bit too early for Hatch.
Yeah, I don't think Hatch goes.
Slaughter and Logan Jones is getting a lot of buzz the last week or so. I don't think it's going to be this early, but I think Logan Jones goes before the other guys possibly at this point.
You just go R. Mason Thomas here. Just draft the best pass rusher.
Yeah, I was kind of looking that way, but I was also looking at Keontae Scott. I think he would be a good fit with this defense. I think he could be moved around a lot, but I think just getting another edge rusher would be the way to go.
Yeah, Scott. I mean, Jalen Petre plays nickel, but I think Scott's a safety, and they could play him. I think they have Reed Blankenship too. Like this roster is so underratedly good. Like
I agree.
Like you could look running back here, but David Montgomery and Woody Marks are fine. Receivers got good depth. Like Tank Dell might be back this year. You have Jalen Knoll, Hutchinson, and Higgins and Collins. Like tight end, do you look at Oscar Delp or Max Clare here? Just go that route.
I'm gonna go with our Mason Thomas. I think just like bulking up this defense and having a nasty rotation of defensive ends that can just pin their ears back and get after the quarterback is actually just make deep playoff runs. And if Houston wants to do that, they have the formula to get that job done. So just throwing our Mason Thomas into that defensive line and letting him do what he can do, that's a good fit.
Yeah. All right, that puts me up with Chicago at 60. This is easy for me. They need a safety. I'm taking Keontae Scott from Miami. I think he's more of a safety than a corner. So that's where I'm going here for Chicago at 60 overall. That's Keontae Scott from Miami. Best run defensive back in the class. Like, I've never seen a corner who loves tackling so much.
Yeah, he plays super physical, and he can just play downhill, get into the box, and I love seeing him blow up a running back, dude. Like, he's so physical. I love Keontae Scott. I cannot say enough good things about him.
Yeah. That puts you up here with the Rams. You went with Mekhi Lemon in the first round.
So I'm looking at Caleb Tierman, tackle from Northwestern. None of the other real interior guys. Maybe Joshua Joseph, edge, Tennessee. He's a guy that's kind of in the mix. Let's see. Josiah Trotter, maybe? I think that could be a good fit.
Man, we're really going to have freaking Pons and Terrell fall out of round 2. But, like, the Rams don't need a nickel.
No. I think there's a world where one of those guys definitely falls out of the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Rams went out and got secondary in the offseason, didn't they? So they don't really need.
They signed both they traded for McDuffie from the Chiefs, and then they signed the Chiefs' other corner as their number 2. So Quentin Lake's their nickel. They got Cam Curl and Cameron Kitchens at their safety spots. So this is another edge rusher maybe to pair with Jared Verse and Josiah Stewart. Like the Rams, they're again incredible roster that they can kind of just go wherever.
So Joshua Joseph and I think Josiah Trotter are the two guys I have it down. Who are their 2 linebackers?
Nate Landman and Omar Spites are their their middle linebackers.
Okay.
And then our dude Sean Dolak from Buffalo is their backup.
Hell yeah. Shout out Dolak last year. I was super high on him.
Yeah, we love that guy.
With Young as their backup for I'm going to go with Josiah Trotter, linebacker, Missouri, to really bolster up their linebackers, get some depth there.
Mm-hmm. All right, here it is. Welcome to the show again, the Denver Broncos. Their first pick here. Tight end's a need, but I think the only tight end they're picking is Eli Stowers. I don't think they're going with the kid from Ohio State, Max Clare. I actually think they would take Oscar Delp if I would go tight end here. But I think Delp's more of a third round guy, borderline top 100 pick. Man, they could use an outside corner. No, not really. Like this team's again another roster that's really good.
Yeah, the Broncos are just deep anywhere. Essentially, you're just adding depth to whatever they need.
Mm-hmm.
Who's their deep threat? Brazil's not a terrible pick here.
Franklin, Mims, Bryant.
Mims, their whole receiving crew.
Like Waddle could be deep threat. Cortland Sutton's the touchdown guy. Like this team is.
This is the perfect team for Stowers to fall to, just to replace Evan Ingram, in who I compared him to Evan Ingram when we were talking about him last week. So,
I'm just going BPA for the Broncos here. That's D'Angelo Pons for me. So that's where I'm going. I'm taking Pons again. I think he could be an outside corner. And if not, they picked Jedi Barron. Riley Moss's contract, I believe, is coming up. Just continue to build that secondary for the Broncos there. So I'm going to take D'Angelo Pons. He's best player on my board, and I don't think he falls out of the top 64 picks.
All right, so we're up with New England, 63. We went what? Fanu? No, Wemu. Yeah. So I'm kind of looking at weapons here, but if they, they don't have AJ Brown as of right now, so
yeah. But like, if they tentatively know, I doubt they go receiver in the second. If they do, I've heard a lot of stuff that they really like Dejon Stribling. I have him as like a fringe top 100 guy, but I've seen a lot of people have him in their top 50.
Who's their corners or nickel? I just see Terrell sitting here, and he should go.
Let's see, New England, Marcus Jones, good nickel, but again, like
he's decent. Yeah,
they can get upgrades if they think Terrell could play outside. Carlton Davis is getting up there in age.
And even that, they still need some type of corner help. And then that just leaves Philly to round out the draft. So, yeah, let's just get Terrell here. Let's go BPA again for another really good roster. I don't think they look... The only other place I would look is tight end, just to add some flashes there to Hunter Henry.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just a little bit too early for Claire. But I do think like Claire, Rouch, Oscar Delp.
Yep.
I think one of those guys is going to go earlier than anyone kind of anticipates.
Yeah,
but
it wouldn't surprise me if all those guys are like third round dudes.
Yeah, I would agree to that. Let's lock in Terrell here for Denver. or for New England.
New England. That puts me
Yeah.
up 64. This was a trade back for Philadelphia, and I already mentioned I was going to take Chris Brazell. He's still here, so I'm going to get them their deep threat wide receiver. And theoretically, this is, we're not going to have A.J. Brown, so we're looking at a receiver room that's Chris Brazell, Dontavian Wicks, Devonta Smith, and Hollywood Brown. So a bunch of guys who can't stay healthy in Devonta Smith. There we go.
Mr. Reliable, Devonta Smith.
Yeah. I love his fantasy value if they get rid of A.J. Brown. I do.
Sure.
He'll be in my top 15. There we go. 2 rounds in the book. I'm not going to recap that. So...
You don't want to recap like 65 picks?
No, I don't. I don't want to run through 65 picks, but some solid drafts. We got a couple trades in there. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. I'm excited for Thursday. I think it's going to be absolutely wild. Like, it would surprise me if there's like 4 trades in the top 10 just because of how weird this class is.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked for Thursday. I think I got a movie lined up for right after work, and then shooting down right to you a little bit before the draft. Probably be there like 6:30. I'm hyped. Dude, draft starts at 8. Get ready, talk ball. Thursday is like one of my favorite days of the year, man. So shout out to draft. I love what ESPN is doing with it, just making it a real big deal. We've always done the draft for the last fucking 15 years. It's always it's a thing. We love watching the draft. I love watching teams pick guys, man. What can I say?
Yeah. I got the wing sauce stuff lined up. Ooh. We'll be doing wings. I'll be cooking them out on the Blackstone
dude.
A little bit ahead of time, and then saucing them up, and there'll also be tendies. We're doing wings and tendies. Yeah.
We're doing the tendies, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right. If you haven't already, like, rate, subscribe, review to the channel. We appreciate your support. Support our affiliates over at Dubby and Findlay Hats, and we will see you guys next week. No episode Thursday. We're not privy to live stream the draft. Maybe one day, not this year.
No way. We got draft to watch.
I'm Theo. This is the Drafted Up Podcast. We'll catch you guys later. Adios.
Bye. Enjoy the draft.